Alright, from the Panzer IV-A, we have the next tank in line is the PZ-38T. It's an increase over the 35, but again, I didn't have wonderful games in it. I've had games where the gun was better than the tank itself. Rapid fire, you get a gun ram or gun laying drive in this thing, some vents, you're good to go. If you want to play that way, if you want to combat other enemy tanks, but of the same tier. It's got a fast firing gun. Increasing that, it's okay. I'm not going to go into much detail. Again, Germans had this thing made from the Czechs, and they pretty much, I don't know what else to say. I mean, it's okay. It can be a scout tank as well, passive scout. It's not good enough to be zipping around the match, you know. And comparing it to the Panzer 1C, who will run circles around this thing with no problem at all. You're not going to zip around and shoot people and laugh and run away at the same time, you know. No, that's not this at all. It almost has a mix between light tank, medium tank. It's got a decent gun. But when you're fighting tier 5s, it's not enough. It just is not. What else can I say about the tank? That, my opinion, I mean, nothing fantastic happened in matches. Me being obviously a new player at the time when I played this thing, I can't say I would suggest this as, yes, this is an excellent tank, this is a great tank, this is one of those tanks that gives the player a chance to do good in. Again, a tank is as effective as the crew that is inside of it, and more importantly, the player playing it. I'm sure there's Unicroms and Super Unicroms and advanced players that can make this tank sing. That's only from experience of playing the game itself, and possibly experience in playing this tank. And this pretty much can go, I think, for most tanks in the game. You've got the experience, you're most likely going to be a force to be reckoned with. But again, I didn't have any stellar games in this thing, and I, to be honest, wanted to get the hell out as soon as possible. I did not enjoy my time in it. I mean, occasionally I would get a kill because simply the fast firing gun, you know, it loads pretty damn quick. I mean, I'll give it that. Let's see, I'm not going to be covering every vehicle in here because obviously I have not played every vehicle in the game, and some of them will not be buying. PZ S35. I won't put money into the game. I don't play it enough to get the most out of it, and frankly, wargaming has stuck to me before on model kits. I have a whole separate video on that, so I don't trust them seeing any of my money at all, ever again. Anyway, that aside, we're going to start with the Tier 3 tank destroyer. The Martyr 2. Wow, the Martyr 2. This, at one point, was one of the best tanks in the game. The Mighty Jingles did a video on it many years ago, which, frankly, I don't understand why Jingles doesn't go back and re-review or even review new tanks for that matter, you know. The stuff that he has up is, some of it's just antiquated, just simply antiquated. He still has the Panzer IV review when it was just the Panzer IV, not the Panzer IV-A or the D or the H. He still has it as the Panzer IV. Jingles, message right to you. Update your shit, man. Come on. Anyway, that aside, Jingles clearly said at one point that this used to be one of the best tanks, or tank destroyers, in the game. It was amazing at one point. Really amazing. So much so, apparently Wargaming said, no, that's way overpowered, so we're going to hit it with the Nerf bat a few times. A few times too often. Now this thing, oh god, my time in it, well, it sucked. It sucked, and it sucked pretty hard. And, I mean, the gun's okay, but you still have this horrible aim time on it, and if I remember right, if I remember playing this thing correctly, this thing had faster reload time than an aim time. That means you're ready to fire before your aim time and your little aiming circle. Don't even get me started on aiming circles on tanks. There's another subject altogether. But you'd have to fire the tank, the gun, and then wait for your aiming circle bloom to go back down to the smallest point that it could get at, while the whole time you're sitting there waiting to shoot. It's frustrating to have a situation like that. You're already reloaded, and you're waiting on your aiming time to get smaller. Frustration, absolutely. I mean, seconds matter the most on the battlefield. If you see a target and you shot him, you want to get the next shot in again before someone else takes your kill. This is one of those tanks that would, or actually not would, but does benefit from other people spotting, shooting the target, and you get the last shot in, i.e. kill stealing. Alright, equipment readout. Gun rammer, gun laying drive, absolutely must. Binocs, yes, absolutely. You're a tank destroyer. You have crap armor. Your job, hide in a bush. Hide in the bush in the back lines. Let the light tank spot targets for you. Let them paint them. You blast them. That's it. Camo net, absolutely a must. Obviously, vents won't work. It's all open topped. Nice little bit of this HD model. I have not looked at this thing since its remake of the model. Kind of sweet. I mean, I that's one thing that bothers me about World of Tanks, though. When you start seeing open turreted tanks like this, and they're driving around and you see nothing inside, kind of creeps you out, you know? Like, who's driving the tank? Uh-oh. Kind of blasts the realization of it. Not realization, but the real feel of it, you know? It's just, I don't know. This is where War Thunder has World of Tanks beat. You see the people in there. They're not the most animated in War Thunder, obviously, but still, you get the idea. The vehicles run by actual crew, you know? They're just driving around and seeing the back of this, and I don't know. It's kind of destroys the realism. It just does. I mean, seeing it straight on, sure, you're not going to see the crew that much. Seeing it from behind and seeing no one driving it, kind of weird, you know? Kind of weird. But would I suggest this tank? You don't have much of a choice. I hate to say it. This is not one of those tanks you want to keep. This is the ones you grind through and pray to God that you actually start to do good in it. That you have opponents that are going to be silly enough to allow you to shoot them, so you can get points to get the hell out of the tank as fast as you can, because it's awful. It really is. I mean, ouch.